There's so much crap going on with work, and I've been like putting off talking about it, and I really ought to, because the best way to like get it out of my system is to just vent about it until I am sick of hearing myself talk. I actually started this video, but then it got to like 4.5 minutes, and I hadn't even like really said anything, and I was like, I should probably redo that. So the thing I was going to talk about like the other day, it wasn't even like directly work related, it just involved somebody that I know from work, and you know, she's a sweetheart. I used to work with her before she transferred to another department, and I get along with her really well, but I was in Anchorage, and had to open the next day, and she texted me at like 8:30 wanting to know if I wanted to go out and get a beer with her, and I was like, no, I'm in Anchorage. And which means, so like it's gonna be like an 1.5 hour drive for me to get home back to the valley to begin with. And so by the time I actually got to a place where I could like get a beer with her, it'd all be like 10 o'clock, and so like I would need to be like in bed so I could wake up for work. And and then she like wanted to meet at a bar that's like right by my house, which I live in the middle of nowhere, but she also lives in the middle of nowhere, but in like a completely different area. It would take me about an hour to drive to her house from my house. So I was like, no, kind of creepy that you would ask me to meet there. Like, are you just hanging out outside of my house? Because that's weird. But after I told her that I was in Anchorage, she's like, well, let's meet in Eagle River then. And I'm like, those are two completely different places. Like, I have to drive past Eagle River from Anchorage to get back home, but I drive past it. I wouldn't drive through it. I'd have to get off the highway, which I wasn't planning on doing. And she's like, but I'm already here. And I'm like, A, you didn't tell me that. B, no, still no. And then she like proceeded to beg me to like come and get a beer with her, and I'm like, I don't even like beer. And no, I already said no. And so then she got really bitchy with me and was like, well, sorry for making you feel like a psycho stalker ex-boyfriend. I'm like, I didn't even know what to say at that point. I actually I texted a screenshot to my friend Derek. Hi, Derek. And asked him, I was like, I don't even know what to say to this. And he was just like, two things. One, I hate people who, like, badger you to hang out. When you say no, they get all upset about it. Like, it's your fault that, And then he said something about the quality of her texting abilities with the English language, which, is actually not relevant to what I'm talking about at the moment, but, so I texted her back saying, you know, I told you that, I already said no, and I gave you good reasons as to why I couldn't go out tonight. And I also don't appreciate the fact that when I tell someone that I can't do something, when they, you know, beg and pout and bitch at me because they are not getting their way. And then she, like, proceeded to be like, well, I wasn't bitching, I just really miss you and want to spend time with you. I'm like, and I just didn't answer back after that because I was going to sleep. And I saw her the next day at work, which things are fine now. Like, we've gotten past that, and what?
Panda Rock?
No, she's not in here.
You certain?
Yes. My brother's in my room. There are no kittens under the blankets. She'd be hissing and killing you right now. She might be in the window, I don't know. She's not in here. Why do you need her anyway? She doesn't like you.
I'm trying to make her like me.
I'm sure that's really gonna work. She's not in here.
Okay.
Hazards of living at home. Yeah, so there was that. Things are fine in that department. On Friday, corporate for the grocery store was supposed to come by, which apparently was a huge, huge, huge deal, even though it wasn't. Everyone was freaking out. And I think that was mostly because all of the, like, department managers were gone that day. And so it's like all the assistant managers having to deal with, oh my god, corporate's coming. And like, it was not a big deal. And I was there with another one of the girls working, and the assistant manager for the deli came over and said that she wanted one of us to go and do active sampling for the deli, which I hate. I have social phobia, and I don't... What?
She's on top of your box
I don't care. I don't care.
right now.
Just leave, please. Oh my god. So much for having a short video. Okay, so I have social phobia. I don't do well talking to strangers. And that's pretty much all active sampling is wandering around and asking complete strangers if they want to try a sample of our fish sandwich. Which I personally would say no, because, you know, I actually like fish a lot. But that's not like a sterile environment at all. And I'm only slightly germophobic. Actually, no, I wouldn't even call it that. I'm not really, but it's still gross. It's still gross. Anyway, so the assistant manager came over and said she wanted one of us to go over and do active sampling. So I was not excited about that because I felt... The last time they wanted us to do active sampling, like, I pretty much, like, avoided it so far. And I've been lucky enough to have... One of the girls goes over there all the time, and because she has, like, no problem talking to strangers, so she just does it. And then I, like, passed it off to one of the other baristas and the last time, and so I didn't want to do it this time, but I really did not want to do active sampling because I do not like talking to strangers. I don't like walking around the store. I don't like having people in my personal space, and that's all grocery stores are. People just, like, not paying attention to anyone around them and just being in the way, pretty much. And I don't like it. But she said, in a couple minutes, or when you get a chance, I can't even remember exactly what was said. At no point did she say, now. I need you now. I was like, okay. So I said, okay, and proceeded to finish up a few things that I had going on in my area, the place that I'm actually paid to work in. And since I was working a full shift that day, I figured I would go ahead and take a break, i.e., like, go to the restroom, because I had been working for 6 hours and was going to be leaving, you know, not too long after corporate got there, so I figured, take the opportunity now. Well, I was back there for, like, maybe 3 minutes, and then the other barista, like, pages me overhead and says that the assistant manager is, like, pissed off, freaking out, demanding that I come over there right now. And so, like, then I, you know, put on the apron to go over there, and the manager, or acting manager for the grocery department, the only department or store is a grocery store, came over. He's like, can one of you go over there? I was like, yeah, I'm going right now. And, like, she didn't seem angry when I went over there, and I walked around freaking out inside my head for 45 minutes, asking people if they wanted samples. I passed by corporate many times. I smiled and said hello. I actually did pretty well, considering I hate talking to people. And then about 2:15, I told her that I had to go back over to Starbucks. The entire time I was gone, the other barista was so busy. She had a ridiculously long line, and, like, I should have gone over to help her, but of course I couldn't because I was sampling. And I was just walking around. I was playing a game to walk as slow as possible, to go down as many aisles as possible, and pretty much avoid as many people as possible. It was a great game. I had to focus. I had to concentrate on smiling. It was ridiculous. And by the end, I wanted to go back to the restroom and, like, just throw up because I could not deal with it. I also spent yesterday icing my wrists because holding the tray for 45 minutes, not moving my arms, I ended up, like, straining them somehow and had, like, resonating carpal tunnel pain all day yesterday. I feel better now, but I didn't work today, so... And that's the best part. Like, okay, everything seemed fine on Friday, and then Saturday, everything seemed fine. Like, we didn't have to deal with corporate on Saturday, and I didn't have any problems, and everything went fine. And then Anne, the lead barista, like, texted me today, and she's like, I need a play-by-play of what happened, because, like, what went on with sampling. I'm like, what is the problem? I did not realize anything was unusual about it. And I find out, like, the first thing when she gets there, the assistant manager from the deli is like, Andrea's ass is mine! Andrea's ass is mine! I'm like, what? That's A, awkward and probably inappropriate to say in public, and B, what? Like, it wasn't a big deal. Corporate, when they got there, okay, so, like, I went on a break because I didn't think corporate had gotten there yet. Nobody bothered to tell me, because apparently I'm not a manager. Why would I need to know? When they got there, they started in the produce department, which was on the opposite end of the store from the deli, and they worked their way in, like, counterclockwise fashion, so they didn't actually get to the deli until the end of their visit. And they saw me walking around with samples for the entire time. Like, I passed by them so many times, and I just really don't understand what the problem is. The fact that I didn't go over there right away when she didn't say she needed me right now, because I was doing my job, the job that I'm paid for. I've never had so many problems at a job as I have with this one. It's ridiculous. Like, and the best, like, I don't have problems with the people I actually work with. Well, for the most part. There's been a few issues lately, but the only time that I've been pulled in the office before, and that's because of miscommunication with the deli manager, and now, like Anne was saying, I might get pulled into the office tomorrow because of miscommunication with the assistant manager, which then she texted me back saying, you know, actually, like, I explained things to the deli manager, and she believes that it's just miscommunication, and I was like, that's all it is. Like, if they want me to do something right then, tell me right then. If they want me to be over there at 1 o'clock, tell me 1 o'clock. Don't say a couple minutes. Don't say whenever I get a chance, because I'm just not going to go over there. I have things to do. I don't just stand around not doing anything until somebody asks me to, and then suddenly I'm busy. Like, it just baffles me that they seem to think that what they do is so much more important than what I do, and so much more difficult than what I do. And, like, granted, my job's not difficult, but there's a lot involved in it, and it's not like I'm ever at a loss of things to do. I'm not looking... I mean, there are times when, yeah, we're not busy, but that doesn't mean I'm not doing anything, and it just... It irritates me when people, like, get bitter with me because I know how to multitask, and I know how to manage my time at work, and I know how to get along with my coworkers and not be, you know, a miserable sack of shit at work all the time. Like, I actually, even though I hate my job, I'm very good at not letting people know that, because I feel like that's an important part of customer service. Nobody's going to enjoy their experience going anywhere if they know all the people that work there are disgruntled and miserable. So, and you know, like, I'm miserable all the time, but nobody fucking knows that because I'm good at hiding it. It's not a skill I should probably brag about, but, you know, 26 years of practice has honed my abilities, I guess. Now that this video is 15 minutes, I probably really need to stop talking.